LEGO pay Marvel for the intellectual property?
How do you know about intellectual property?
I don't know, but it sounds expensive. Yeah, let's go. Special bricks. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Special Bricks Playroom.
Hey guys. So today we're doing part 2 of our 2 expensive Marvel sets, where we take a look at some sets that a lot of people have complained are very expensive when you consider the price per piece. For example, last week we did Miles versus the Spot, which was 375 pieces and cost $50. So that's about 13 cents per piece. Whereas the Lego City Burger Truck.
Can we build it now?
Wait, which one do you want to build?
This one. X-Men X-Jet. 76281. 359 pieces.
How much do you think that one cost?
80. I don't know, but sounds expensive.
Yes, because it is $85, so it is expensive. This might be one of the most expensive sets I've seen per piece, because I think it comes up to something like 24 cents per piece, as opposed to, like I said, this was 13. And if you go to something like Lego City, it's 8. So here we are, 24 cents for the X-Men X-Jet. Do you think it'll be worth it?
I think so.
Only one way to find out. Let's crack it open, build it, and take a look.
Assemble the bricks, the X-Jet comes alive. Lego X-Men ready to fly. Wolverine in the cockpit, claws shining bright. Cyclops primed, optic blast ignites. Move soaring free, powers in hand. Together they rise, a hero stand. Magneto, a sun's metal disc in flight, summoning bricks with magnetic might. Swirling steel storm, chaos unleashed, but the X-Men won't accept defeat. X-Men, built to fight, built to fly. X-Jet soaring through Lego skies. X-Men, block by block, standing strong. X-Men, mutants, battle on. Wolverine dodges bricks, maneuvers tight. Cyclops fires blast with pinpoint light. Rogue deflects shards with power and grace. Jet missiles lock in on the chase. Bricks swirling faster, Magneto enraged. Wolverine fires, all weapons engaged. Cyclops blast again, Rogue dives low. Jet battles on against all foes. Magneto strikes, breaks the X-Jet's wing. The mutants hold tight, klaxons ring. Crash landing swift, heroes leap outside. The battle continues, no place to hide. X-Men, built to fight, built to fly. X-Jet soaring through Lego skies. X-Men, block by block, standing strong. X-Men, mutants, battle on. Now grounded heroes stand side by side. Wolverine charges, nowhere to hide. Cyclops precise, blast through debris. Rogue flying strong, fierce and free. Magneto falters, losing control. Lego bricks scatter, no longer whole. Wolverine strikes with adamantium might. Cyclops and Rogue turn the tide of the fight. Magneto staggers, power running thin. He crashes down, this fight he won't win. Cyclops and Rogue blast him once more, and Wolverine unleashes a victory roar. X-Men, built to fight, built to fly. X-Jet soaring through Lego skies. Together strong, heroes true. Magneto defeated, the fight is through.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Special Bricks First Impressions.
Okay, well, we just finished our build here. So yeah, Elizabeth, what were your first impressions about building it? Anything you liked, you didn't like?
I felt happy because we made it, but I didn't like because we need to use wood extractions.
Oh, and you didn't like how it was hard for us to build it at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point. For whatever reason, this set just didn't really lend itself well to building for more than one person. If you looked at our build video, you saw I was sort of just sorting pieces in the other bags while Elizabeth mostly built the body and wings. So usually sometimes in a set like that, they'd split it up, or maybe the second booklet would be building the wings and you put it all together at the end. But if you are building this with a friend, that friend might be a little bit bored, but not the worst problem. Okay, what else about the actual set? About the jet or the minifigures?
Well, because there's some seats for them all.
Oh, so how many people can go in the X-Jet?
They all can.
Oh, all 4 of them can go in?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and about the minifigures, anything you liked or didn't like about them?
I do not like because they don't have any superpowers. See?
Oh, like Cyclops doesn't have a laser? Yeah, so that is something was a little bit disappointing. The actual minifigures, besides Wolverine's claws, don't really have any sort of accessories that indicate they have superpowers. Like you can see in the box here, Cyclops is shooting a laser, but that's just like art on the box. He does not come with anything that would actually let you shoot a laser or look like one of those laser beam accessories. So, but otherwise though, what else?
Well,
Anything else to say?
Can the X-Men X-Jet go to other superheroes?
Oh, you want to play with the X-Jet and some of our other superheroes?
Yes.
I think that's a good idea. We're going to go do that.
Okay.
Now, we're going to take a closer look at the X-Men X-Jet, starting with the minifigures. But before we get into that, let's talk about the X-Men themselves for a little bit. Now, just to give you some context, this set is based on the X-Men 97 animated series that came out last year on Disney+, which in turn was a continuation of the X-Men Sunday morning cartoon that aired in the 1990s. So I'm judging these minifigures on that basis. I know a lot of people are familiar with the X-Men only from the movies with Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart, etc. So some of these design decisions may be confusing if you're only familiar with those movies, but I'll do my best to explain key differences. Now, I've always felt the X-Men characters have had amazing art design. I noticed when I was a kid, there seemed to be this trade-off where the coolest superheroes seem to only have muted dark colors, and that could get kind of boring to look at. But the superheroes that were bright and colorful were kind of corny. So to me, the X-Men character art design was so compelling because they had great color design and they were just great comic characters. I think they're the only superhero team that I thought were awesome and compelling when I was Elizabeth's age, and that I still think are awesome and compelling now. Now, let's talk about the minifigures. The set comes with 4 minifigures, and we're going to start with Magneto here, who historically has been the main antagonist of the X-Men series.
It's 3 sugars.
I'll take a cappuccino if you just taking orders.
No. Luckily, I am giving them.
So, all right, I know what you're thinking, right? So I was just talking about cool character art design, but the huge M on his torso looks like really stupid, right? But in the X-Men 97 show, he really does have an outfit that looks something like this. The problem for me is the purple on the minifigure isn't nearly dark enough. In the show, his outfit is so dark, it looks almost black. It's even darker than his cape, and so it contrasts nicely with this big bright M. Whereas with the minifigure, the purple on Magneto's torso is lighter than his cape and makes Magneto look a lot more cartoonish than he needed to be. For what it's worth, the cape is nice. It's a real fabric cape. It's not the molded kind that you sometimes see in sets with Thor or Doctor Strange. What else? I like what LEGO did with the hairpiece, even though it's not quite capturing Magneto's look in the animated series. This LEGO hairpiece looks kind of like the piece you'd see in a Lord of the Rings elf, whereas in the animated series, he's got more of a shaggier 1990s Metallica look. The main drawback to the hairpiece is its length means you can't put a real scarf piece on Magneto's neck, So they just have to have a painted scarf on his torso. That's not unique to Magneto, like most LEGO long hair pieces aren't compatible with scarf pieces, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. Let's see, the thing I like best about it is the facial expressions. They totally captured Magneto's look here. On one side, you have this face where you can literally feel him smirking in superior disregard for these pathetic humans and their inferior DNA.
My former prosecutor has likely taken issue with your choice for Chancellor. But surely Genosha's right to self-govern will not only be protected, but cherished.
Or you can flip it to this side, where he's absolutely outraged at the naivete of the X-Men for thinking humans can peacefully coexist with mutants.
They shall be avenged!
Honestly, these expressions like salvage a minifigure for me, and they still make Magneto a great villain to incorporate into your play. Otherwise, who would be afraid of this mutant supervillain with a goofy M on his torso? I do wish they gave Magneto some sort of accessory to indicate his superpowers, but all they did was give him this metal disc that he uses to hover and fly. But there's a few easy options I think you might have if you have the extra pieces. I like giving him one of these purple energy bursts as a shield, and then this metallic silver Technic ball to be like a metal sphere that he's shaping and ready to launch at the X-Jet at 4,500 miles per hour. The next minifigure is Rogue. This is definitely my favorite minifigure in the set. I think the printed legs are great. I like the yellow hand pieces to show Rogue's gloves, as Rogue wearing gloves is very central to the character.
Honey, this ain't that sort of probe.
I'm a big fan of the print on her torso and legs, and especially her hairpiece with the white streak. The white streak is actually more similar to like the Anna Paquin portrayal in the X-Men movies.
We love what you've done with your hair.
Because the Rogue character in X-Men 97 has hair that's like half white, and I think that would have looked silly if they tried to reproduce that look here. The only drawback for Rogue is that she doesn't have any accessories that can be used as superpowers, but unlike Cyclops and Magneto, I think I'm okay with LEGO designers doing this. Because Rogue's main superpower is a bit weird. Like in all the X-Men canon, her main mutant power is the ability to absorb another mutant superpowers and then use it herself.
I won't tell Jean. I just hope. I absorbed your power when I touched you. And how do I turn this darn thing off?
Although, she can absorb other things too. Honestly, it can get a little confusing on how it works.
Rogue, can you use your powers to siphon his medical expertise?
Excuse me? Do what?
Prep an IV and get this lady to a room.
What?
Aside from that, the X-Men 97 version of Rogue can also fly and has super strength. And admittedly, these aren't easy superpowers to model with LEGO accessory pieces, so that's why I'm withholding criticism. But I would say what you could do, and what me and Elizabeth did, is maybe add power burst pieces that you usually get with a LEGO set with Captain Marvel or other superheroes that have some sort of energy or power attack. If you have one of those sets, I think those power burst pieces make a great enhancement if you use them for Rogue. Now we take a closer look at Wolverine.
Been in a lot of wars, bub. The brave always die first.
There's a lot of good things to say about this minifigure. The prints on his leg and torso are very well done. His headpiece is great, and it's a great reproduction of his mask from the X-Men 97 series. The expression is quintessential Wolverine. He's about to shred his enemies and enjoy doing it. And of the minifigures, he's the only one in this set that actually comes with these claw piece accessories that reflect his powers. But there's one thing I need to point out. This is just objectively a worse Wolverine than the one that came with the Marvel Series 2 minifigure set that came out in 2023. That minifigure was great. You can see it just has more detail with the printed arms and the dual molded legs and other minor differences. But what I really want to call out is this. The Marvel Series 2 minifigures head had two sides and came with a hairpiece. So it was intended you could alternate Wolverine's head between the Wolverine side with the mask and the Logan side with the hairpiece. The X-Jet Wolverine's headpiece also has a Wolverine and a Logan side, but it does not come with a separate hairpiece like the Series 2 minifigure did. And that's just lame, because the Series 2 minifigure doesn't even have the fancy Logan hair like the older Wolverines has. It just has the relatively common widow's peak hair that you often see in LEGO City sets. So if you have any other LEGO minifigures, it's probably not too hard for you to find a black hairpiece from one of those and create your own Logan, but I don't know why we're paying $85 and still have to substitute pieces for that. If they weren't going to give us a separate hairpiece, I would have preferred a Wolverine headpiece that just had two Wolverine sides meant to be used with the mask, like two expressions, one where, his mouth is open and he's enraged, as he often is in the series, or basically constantly. Last and unfortunately least, we have Cyclops. Okay, so I have a lot of reasons to feel negatively about this minifigure.
Lady, I got 6 reasons why.
Alright, I don't know if it's that many, but let's just start with what I do like. I like the detail on the torso. I think at first glance, the head and hair pieces are really well done in reproducing Cyclops' look. Now, the bad stuff. The leg piece is just plain blue with no prints, which is unfortunate because the X-Men X-Mansion LEGO set does have a Cyclops with leg prints. Again, if the X-Jet set is only $50, I'd be okay with getting a Cyclops minifigure without leg prints, but it's not. It's $85, so I think we should be getting one with leg prints. I don't think that's too much to ask for this price. Also, the two facial expressions look really similar, where one side has Cyclops looking vaguely unhappy, and one side has him looking slightly amused. But I'm not actually going to ding LEGO on this because Cyclops spends 90% of his time in the X-Men 97 show toggling pretty much between vaguely unhappy and slightly amused.
You have a Porsche. Watch out!
So I think that's actually pretty accurate. Finally, we have to talk about Cyclops' optic blast, or like his eye laser energy beam. We already talked about it at the first impression segment because Elizabeth noticed it right away. Despite the box art showing Cyclops firing his optic blast, in the actual set, Cyclops has no accessories that would reproduce his power. The X-Mansion minifigure version does give him accessories for his optic blast, where the minifigure holds a small bar piece with a stud and that connects to the laser, and it sort of looks like the optic blast. But I have a suggestion that I think is even better than that. If you're lucky, like we were, your X-Jet set will come with 3 red laser beam pieces like ours did. The X-Jet only has 2 laser launchers, so if you get 3, that means you have a spare laser you can use. Then, if you have one of these clear plastic handle pieces that often come as an extra piece in any sets that have them, you can put them together. And this is closer to what you'd expect, where Cyclops is touching his visor to fire off his optic blast. So, if you have a banner box where you keep any of the small leftover pieces that come with LEGO sets, I'd start there, see if you already have something like this, and use that. Okay, so, bottom line. These minifigures are pretty good. I know I spent a lot of time dwelling on negatives, but I think I just had really high standards for this, both because of the $85 cost, and because of how much I do appreciate X-Men character art design, as I mentioned in the beginning of this segment. So I spent a lot of time with them because they do fall frustratingly just short of expectations, and I think it would have taken only some minor modifications or adjustments or additions for them to be really great minifigures, and where maybe you are actually saying, that was $85, but I got some awesome minifigs out of it. And this is especially a shame because the actual X-Jet itself is actually, that is pretty awesome. And so let's talk about that and take a closer look. The X-Jet is really where the set shines. If there's any justification for this absurd $85 expense, it has to be because the set uses a lot of pieces with sophisticated molds. So it may be misleading to compare this set and its price per piece ratio to some other sets with a similar number of pieces. As a result of using so many pieces with new and unique molds, it really has a great look. It doesn't look blocky at all. Like, for example, I've never seen these kinds of bricks ever, but this set has a lot of them. This is especially cool because the X-Jet itself in the comics is actually based on the SR-71 Blackbird. Like, the origin of the X-Jet is Beast literally being given an SR-71 Blackbird from the US military and modifying it. In fact, in the comics and the animated series, they still often call the X-Jet the Blackbird. So, if you think the real-life Blackbird looks cool, that's probably because of how aerodynamic and sleek it looks, and I appreciate how much they tried to reproduce that look for the X-Jet here. The X-Jet is also really sturdy. In your play activity, you can fly this thing around without chunks of it falling off. This might be the sturdiest LEGO aircraft or spaceship we've ever built. And like you can see, I'm literally shaking it, squeezing it, and the bricks aren't breaking off. As Elizabeth and I played with it, we felt it just a really impressive piece of LEGO engineering, and it was great not having to pause our LEGO play stories to reattach bricks like we often have to do with other vehicles. The LEGO X-Jet sturdy design is especially ironic given how often the X-Jet got blown up in the animated series. Like, I felt like it got blown up like every other episode. So I hope it cost the X-Men less than $85 every time they needed to replace one.
Meg's gonna kill you. This is the third Blackbird in these many months.
The detail in the cockpit is nice and easily fits all 4 minifigures. There's also these 2 boxes here, which contain ammunition for the weapon launchers on this side. Speaking of which, the X-Jet has 4 different weapon launchers, 2 here that fire these 1x1 circular tile pieces, and 2 back here that fire the long red laser bar pieces. The rear launchers can rotate down for firing, like this, but be careful not to leave them in that position, because if you do, then it's really easy to trigger them with upward pressure the next time you pick up the X-Jet, and the next thing you know, your play session is interrupted because now you have to dig a red laser bar from underneath the couch, as I'm about to go do now. For play, the X-Jet has great size and scale. It's big enough to hold multiple minifigures, but small enough that it doesn't entirely dominate any other structures you're using. It added a great dimension of fun in my play sessions with Elizabeth. You can see us incorporating it into the city we started with the Miles Morales set we reviewed in our last video. And we also then built a launching pad for it. It's maybe a little too big in scale compared to the rest of the LEGO City, but it still worked great for us, and we had a great time with it. So, with how good the X-Jet itself is it worth $85? Let's go to our review segment where Elizabeth and I score each set based on 4 traits: build, minifigures, value, and fun. First category is the build. Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
All right, I give it thumbs up too. And our next category is minifigures. What do you think, Elizabeth? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
All right, I give thumbs up. Okay, our next category is value. We've talked a lot about this, so Elizabeth, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs down.
Story is fun. This one is out of 4. So, Elizabeth, what do you think? How fun was this?
So much fun.
So, how many thumbs up?
2 thumbs up.
All right, I actually also give this 2 thumbs up.
What do you think?
So, bottom line, if you're rich, it could be worth getting this set. It's a good set. It's just way overpriced, but it is a good set. So you're not getting your dollar's worth, but you're not getting ripped off either. That makes sense. Otherwise, yeah, that is part 2 of 3 of our 2 expensive Marvel sets. Episode 1, we covered Miles Morales versus the Spot. Episode 2, go to the X-Jet. And next week, we'll be covering Captain America versus Red Hulk, which isn't too expensive, but is really not a lot of pieces, and you're pretty much paying for Red Hulk. But we'll get into that next week. Okay. Anything you want to say before we go, Elizabeth?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, Gene, it's time. Let's go.
See you next time at the Special Words Playroom.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, next category, value. I've said a lot about this, so thumbs up or thumbs down.
Thumbs up.
Together strong, heroes true. Magneto defeated, the fight is through. Brick heroes assembled, villains undone. X-Men united, the battle